Again, good afternoon. Today presenting will be Ms. Mary Lyons from the Texas Army National Guard presenting the Credentialing Assistance Program. And go ahead, Mary, take it on. It's 1 o'clock. Sorry, 2 o'clock.
Yeah. It's 1 o'clock where I am. Thank you so much, Zaida. Appreciate it. We also have on the line with us Sarah Schmidt. She's the ESS in Washington State, and she's going to just be monitoring the chat box and responding to your questions if you have any. So thank you, Sarah, for being available for that. So yeah, let's just go ahead and jump in here. The Credentialing Assistance Program agenda is going to be we'll kind of dive into each one of these. I like to, I'm more of like a visual learner, so some of these might be a screen share with the actual website or the CA request or the statement of understanding, so I won't try to PowerPoint you to death. I do want you to ask as many questions as you can and also give you resources to ask your own ESS if you're joining from a state other than Texas. So these are the policies that govern the Credentialing Assistance Program, as well as the Federal Tuition Assistance Program. So if you want a little light reading, you can dive into those on your own time. But for the overview of the Credentialing Assistance Program, so basically you've got $4,000 per fiscal year to use towards a credential, a certification, a recertification, or a license that's listed in Army Cool. And I'll just really quickly kind of show you what that website looks like, just so you know what I'm referencing when I say Army Cool. So this is the website that pretty much houses all of the credentials that the Army says we'll pay for. And so we'll dive into that a little bit later. But going back to federal tuition assistance and CA, so you can use actually both of these programs at the same time, but you can't exceed that $4,000. And like I said, the credential must be listed in Army Cool. There's always a way to submit a credential for review to add it to the Army Cool website, and I'll show you how to do that a little later. And then one of the hurdles that was preventing soldiers a couple of months ago was, they had different pathways that you had to be eligible for, and you had to stand on your tippy toes and tap your stomach and do twirls just to get access to some of the credentials. So we're thankful that they removed some of those hurdles, and so now you have access to whatever credential is on Army Cool, you can pursue. It doesn't matter if it's connected or linked to your MOS. It doesn't matter if it's connected to your civilian occupation. The only one that matters is if your MOS actually pays for your training. So if your whatever your MOS is, if they pay for that credential already, the Credentialing Assistance Program can't pay for that credential. So, and that makes sense. And then of course, the credential can't be associated with doctoral degrees, and that's really, that gets up to the headquarters level. They'll analyze, where you're at. If you do have a doctoral degree, and if they see that this credential would be linked to that doctoral degree, then they might reject it or approve it. It's really at that level, it's up to headquarters. So just be aware, something to be aware of. So the benefits of this program are just awesome. The CA program will pay for training materials, books, tests, exams, and fees. So unlike federal tuition assistance that only pays for tuition, this program pays for everything that is associated with getting the credential that you need to be successful. Now you just have to make sure that, this is not a fast moving process. So you have, if you're in a rush, this might not be a good program for you. Right now we're seeing applications take anywhere from 45 to 60 days to get approved. So you just want to talk to your ESS and let them know what your situation is. and they'll educate you on the process and let you know what the best pathway is for your specific case. Now, another thing to keep in mind is if you pay anything out of pocket in advance of it being approved by headquarters, then the Army will not reimburse you. And so it's the same idea for federal tuition assistance. You have to have your class approved prior to the start date, and it's the same thing with credentialing assistance. Please don't start any credentialing programs or trainings before headquarters has had the ability to pay for that stuff. Because you would be responsible. And we don't want that. That's leaving a lot of money on the table. Books and materials are paid for by Access RBU, and they're mailed to you directly, so you don't have to coordinate or anything. And I'll go through the credentialing assistance request to kind of show you the questions they ask. By the end of the CA request, they'll have your address and your phone number and email so they can connect with you if they have any questions. So some of the eligibility requirements are basic. You just have to complete AIT if you're a soldier, enlisted soldier. For warrant officers, it's that basic course. And then for our officers, it's BOLC. And so, that's it. Everybody is eligible to request credentials. You can request a credential. Can you mute whoever came on? Okay, good. So this, where was I? I can't remember where I was.
You said anybody that finishes BOLC or WOBC can.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So yeah, if you have completed those basic requirements, you can jump in and take a credential. You can actually take more than one credential at a time. So you can take them concurrently or sequentially, meaning one right after the other. But just my only caution to that is some of these trainings, you just have to know what you're getting into. So definitely plan out your time wisely. If you're doing those like CompTIA and A+, those can be done like at the same time. If you've already done the study guides and stuff, you can request those at the same time and sort of just plan out that study time on your own. Or if you're doing a training for those credentials, a lot of times they have boot camps for those IT certs. So if you're looking to kind of change your career or go in a different direction, some of these career fields really require you to have not just one credential, but several. And so and we'll go through Army Cool and kind of show you how you can learn more about the specific fields like IT field, healthcare field, things like that. So going back to eligibility, you can't be flagged. That's a given with federal tuition assistance and credentialing assistance. And your account cannot be on hold, which is basically just the flag. So any of those other holds, like the student agreement, the GPA hold, the Civ Ed code, those will not prevent you from using the CA program, which is great. And I forgot the tier one. That is not going to prevent you from using the CA program either. One really, really important thing to remember is that all of the credentialing assistance training, exams, that end date has got to be before you leave the military, or ETS. So for my soldiers or for my officers out there, whatever your MRD date is, it has to be before that date. And then for my enlisted officers, my enlisted soldiers, just has that course end date has got to be before you ETS. Okay, so you can use CA and Montgomery GI Bill for an exam, and you can get about $2,000 reimbursed to you. Be really careful with this. It can kind of be a little bit complicated is a good word for that. So I'm going to give you an example where you might need to use this, these two benefits together. So let's say that the training is $6,000. And maybe it breaks out into $4,000 for the training and $2,000 for the exam. In that case, what we would say is use CA for the $4,000 and then go ahead and use your Montgomery GI Bill to use for the exam, which is $2,000. And that is not duplicating your benefits. That's using these two programs in the correct way. Because the last thing that you want to do is have a bill with the VA. And so if you are in a boat where your credential or your training program costs a lot of money, please connect with one of your ESSs in your state or your education center and ask them about this particular benefit combo. And they can give you a little bit more information on that. So for my officers out there, you will incur an additional service obligation or a military service obligation, an MSO. If you are MDay, it's going to be 4 years from the last day, so basically the end date of your training. And then for your active duty officers, you guys are going to incur a 2-year obligation from the end date of your training or course date. The only way to get around this is if you're an officer and you're using it for testing or recertification, you won't incur a service obligation, but it is capped at $2,000 on your last year of service. So those are two separate things. So you can get testing and recertification throughout your career as an officer or a warrant officer. But just remember, if you're, maybe you're getting out of the military and you just want that one testing or recertification, it's going to be capped at $2,000, but you won't incur an ADSO, so that's kind of nice. This is the same rule that we have in tuition assistance recoupment. So if you don't pass the class or if you fail to complete the training in any way, the Army wants their money back. They want to know that, what they're giving you is being used to pass a class and to be successful. And if that doesn't happen, then they want their money back. So it's really important that at the end of your course, you upload the documentation at least 10 business days after you have 10 business days after the end date of your course or training, whatever's listed on that application, or even earlier. Let's say you finish earlier. Just make sure that you upload the documentation to that help desk case. And that basically proves that you've completed the training, that you've passed the training, and you won't be called by headquarters to say, hey, we're going to set you up for a recoupment plan, which is never fun. Okay, so kind of jumping into credentialing assistance and the way that these credentials are parceled out. So we've got 22 job families, and these job families are decided by the Department of Labor. And originally, when I was talking about those hurdles that this CA program had, originally you had to find a credential and sort of find where that credential fit into using one of these job families. So this slide is really just to show you kind of the areas that the credentialing assistance program covers. And as you can see, it's quite wide. It's awesome. And so right now we are going to kind of start the CA process, and I'm going to walk with you through some of just the real basics. So first you're going to contact your ESS or your Education Services Officer. Then you're going to submit your CA request, and then you're going to monitor it. So first I just want to show you how to go to Go Army Ed and find out where your sorry, I'm doing two things at once, and sometimes my brain just slows down a bit. So I'm going to share my screen here with you. This is the Go Army Ed website. the main page. And so you're just going to scroll down to the bottom, click Education Centers. And then right up here, you'll see National Guard. And then you'll just find your Education Services office. So let's do Hawaii. That would be so cool to be there right now. Okay, so you can see the contact information right there. And so you would just reach out to your ESS that way. Okay, so the CA request. Let me just move this screen here. Oh, actually, we're going to go through Army Cool a little bit right now. Okay, so Army Cool, and then we'll go through the CA request. This site has been updated. I think the last time was in March or February. Oh, and it was most recently updated in May. So it's just filled with a lot of really good information. Up here, you can decide, okay, I'm an enlisted, I keep saying enlisted officer. I don't know why. I'm an enlisted service member. And, I'm a 12 Alpha, or I'm a 12 Bravo. I'm an 11 Bravo. Let's do that. And then we do next, and it's going to show you, first of all, what this MOS does. And pretty much they're the coolest of the cool. See, this guy looks so cool. And then we're going to go here to related credentials, and it's going to show you all the related credentials. Now, let's say you want to branch out and you don't really, 11 Bravo's really kind of a very general, a broad, you guys kind of specialize in a lot of different things. So you can see right here, you can go from certified association executive to a certified retirement counselor. That is from one end to the other as far as the spectrum goes. So, and right here, you can see there's 32 entries. So there's 4 pages. You can actually change the view. You can see it in kind of this, I don't know what you call this display right here, but maybe, card view is what it's called. And so if you want to just kind of dive into that specific credential, you can click view the credential page, and it'll take you to the actual credential and the eligibility, the exam, what's in the exam. And then also it'll show you kind of what the recertification summary is like. So I clicked on that, and this is what I'm talking about. So it says you need 4 years of experience to even do this particular credential. Now, this is, I just want to point this out. Experience is different from training. So a lot of these programs offer training to get you to a place of experience, and they might be able to, look at the past experience that you've had and combine it with some of the training that you receive from that specific training provider. So don't let that prevent you from pursuing a credential. And with this program, the training is really a key area in being able to sit for that exam. And sometimes you can't do the training without, getting in the classroom. So there's lots of different types of training. And I know we're kind of in this weird environment where everything is virtual. So most of the training that you're going to find nowadays is going to be distance learning, or maybe they've stopped for a period of time. So really good idea to connect with the specific training providers and just see where they're at. Here, eligibility, it'll break it down to you, like what you need. And right here, you can see there are 3 options for you to be able to qualify. This is a pretty cool tab. It doesn't tell you what's in the exam, but it does tell you what's, what the exam includes. And then it gives you some resources you can connect with. And then it'll just let you know what that renewal period is. So you have to take an exam every 3 years to keep this credential. And then sometimes it has this tab called additional considerations. And so you just want to, isn't this a cool website? I just love it. It has so much information for you. You can even go to the certifying agency's website, and that'll take you directly to the IAAP folks, and you can find POCs to talk to if you want more information. And sometimes those agencies will have training providers that they already work with, or they have a training that they provide themselves. And so it's great. It's an awesome website to get familiar with. So let me go back. If you want to on your own, I would just recommend clicking Learn About CA or types of credentials. And that kind of is going to give you this little legend over here where you can dive into learning more about what credentials there are, learning about the CA process, how to select a credential, and then it just walks you through a lot. And then this navigator up here, I typically use full credential search. Like when I know the credential that I want, I just click that, and then I don't know why my screen is blue. That's so weird. And then, like, let's say project management professional. This little guy works really hard because it's pulling up like 1,600 plus credentials, and I'll show you, where you can find. It's going to pop up right here and show you how many credentials there are when it actually works. But they have been working on getting this kind of sorted out. I don't know if maybe my internet connection is bad, but this feature right here has gone slow since the program started. So I think I'll just come back to that. Let's see, what else can I show you about this? Sarah, do you have any suggestions for any other things that I'm missing as far as addressing Army Cool?
I think you pretty much covered most of what I would say, other than, like really go through the soldier CA process, because that's going to be updated and it'll tell you line by line what you need to do. Mm-hmm. And really pay attention to who is already a vetted provider or a vendor, because, you can go to anybody you want, but you might have less administratively to worry about if you choose somebody that's already on the list and already integrated fully into the system. Doesn't mean they're better, it just means it's easier to use.
Absolutely. And you led me right into my next area, which is choosing a vendor. So when you're ready to when you know the credential that you want, and let's say you're wanting a CompTIA, because that's a very popular one. You can actually look at the vendors that are available, and I think it's right here. Yes. Okay. So I clicked on Army Credentialing Assistance Program, and right here you're going to see this approved vendor list, and I'm going to bring it up for you right here. And this is a list of every single approved training provider that has been vetted by headquarters ACEs. Access Army U is who they kind of branch out over. So as you can see, we've got Amazon as a vendor. We've got CareerStep, and so when you see the cert name, that's exactly what kind of credential they offer. And then it even gives you a POC along with the POC phone and email to connect with that vendor with. So this is a great list. If you know the CompTIA, let's just do a practice run here with the CompTIA. Oh, it's already up over here. So we're going to do CompTIA. Find next. Okay, so we've got Great Plains Technology Center. We've got Test Out Corporation. ATG learning. So then now we know what vendors are there, and you can sort it by, you know, a specific state. And then, but the soldier's job, your responsibility is to make sure that the vendor that you select is someone who's going to provide you with exactly what you need. And so this program relies on you, the soldier, to do the work as far as reaching out to the vendor, getting the cost information, because, drum roll please, you are going to have to be responsible for filling this credentialing request out. And it is 3 parts long. So the first page, you're going to select your type of credential. And if it's not listed, you'll check this box and then type in the name of the credential. Then you're going to move to part 2. And I sort of hijacked one of my soldiers' CA requests. So I changed some of this information, but I left the majority of it. So don't call 234-546. That's a made up number. But this particular gentleman, he wanted to work on the GSNA certification. And so he had to reach out to the vendor specifically and get their information. Now, one thing about this, which he has to correct, is you have to, I don't know if July 1st is 45 days out. I think it might be like right on the brink. But that's one of the things that your ESS is going to check, is the start date at least 30 business days out from the day that you know, they get it into their queue. And so the end date also has to be at least 1 year from the start date. So, you know, if he wanted some extra time to work on it, he could actually put it out to, June 30th would be 2021. That's why it didn't let me. So it'd be June 30th would be the longest he could work on this particular credential. And then part 3, let me go back here. So let's say you're doing an in-class certification, meaning you meet in a classroom with the instructor. You would check that box. And do you see what just happened? This blue line around the credentialing request came up. And what it says at the very top is 5 required fields are missing. So that just means you have to fill in whatever is yellow or green in this case. I don't know why my screen is so weird looking. But then it changes to data looks good. So if you see that green line and it says data looks good, that means you've entered in all the applicable information. Sometimes I get CA requests and the work phone is missing or the work email is missing, and unfortunately we can't accept it or push it forward until every single cell is entered with information. All right, part 3. So you're going to determine whether you're preparing for this credential or you're obtaining. So if you're doing just like some studying or just the training for the certification, you would click an X. If you're doing a program where you want to do the training and the exam and it's happening all at the same time, you can do an X here. And it kind of gives you the types of preparation here to the right, so you can see if it fits into what you're requesting. But down here, you're going to enter in all this information. There'll be drop-down boxes, and you'll decide what it is that you want to put in. And so each area has to be entered separately unless it is a bundled program. So it looks like this particular training is a bundled program. And so they gave the URL for finding, the vendor's website where the headquarters can go if they need to see the particular certification and all that it involves. The cost. So this one is very expensive, $7,000, which means headquarters is going to want to know that the soldier is able to pay for the additional $3,020. And so there must already be in place some sort of a payment plan or an agreement with the soldier to make sure that the soldier is up for paying that additional $3,020 before headquarters will pay that $4,000. So just be aware if your credential goes over that $4,000 mark, you're going to need to make sure you have a payment plan in place before headquarters calls. Okay. So, so the 2 documents you'll need when you're opening up a help desk case on GoArmyEd is the credentialing assistance request, which we just covered, and then this credentialing assistance statement of understanding. And so this is basically just saying if I fail it, I have to pay it back. I have to have completed, the basic military education in order to take advantage of the credentialing assistance program. And so you want to read this little light reading, and then you're going to come right here and right click into this area and sign. But remember right here, sometimes on government computers, they have this little thing that says enable editing and stuff. And so you'll have to enable it, and then you'll right click and click sign. Well, you have to save it to your computer. I opened this from the internet. So you'll have to save it first and then right click and then sign. And when you sign it, your DoD ID number is going to come up right here, and it's going to have the date and your name. And that's how you know that you've signed it correctly, how we need it. It has to be CAC signed. If you don't have access to a CAC right now because of COVID-19, sometimes, National Guard soldiers don't always get access to a CAC card reader because they might, drill far, far away. And I know some drills are not going on right now. So in lieu of that, you can just upload this particular document, and in the notes section, you'll say, I agree to the terms and conditions in the statement of understanding. And headquarters will accept that as part of, in lieu of your CAC card signature. But that's only if you don't have a CAC card, and they're not going to come and check or anything. But,
Hey, Mary,
that's,
sorry
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry to cut in, Mary. It's Sarah. Are you pressing the screen share button? Because we're on the Army Cool page and some of the things you've been discussing aren't showing.
Oh.
For me and Zaida.
Oh, thanks for telling me. How long has that been going on?
Just the documents for the CA program.
Oh, okay.
I didn't notice until I realized, oh, she's trying to show people. And I don't see it.
So yeah,
others are not experiencing that, but if they are, that might be
I do have a red line around my screen. So it is sharing. Is there any way we can ask the folks in the chat if they're able to see the information? Let's see.
Chief Brooks, we haven't seen anything since you started. If you were sharing the screen, we've just been looking at the same cool slide.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Hey, Mary, try clicking share, and then it should show you the available documents, and click on it, and hopefully it'll push it up.
Share. So stop sharing? No,
click the button that says share. It's like a screen with an arrow. Click that, and a bunch of documents on your desktop will appear. And then
yeah, but I don't have that option because I'm already sharing on my screen. Isn't that weird? So I'll stop sharing and then I'll share, and I can see those documents. Let's see. I'm so sorry, guys. I wish that would not have happened. Let's see. Let me know if you can see anything.
So we can see your slide deck right now.
Okay, great.
But it's on the Army Cool page, so it doesn't have the Excel sheets and stuff if you were going over those.
Okay, yeah, I was dragging those in. Can you see that stuff?
I don't think that it'll work if you drag it in. You had to click share and then it's going to show the Excel sheet and then you had to actually click the Excel sheet to push it through.
Oh, okay.
It's a little different than.
Okay.
Takes a little practice. MS Teams is new to us, so we trying.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought once I shared the screen, everything could be seen.
Nope.
Okay, so do you
There we
see
go.
this? Okay.
Yes.
So this is thanks for letting me know, Sarah and Zaida. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So this is the approved list of vendors that I was talking about earlier, where you can use the find feature right here to select a particular credential. And for the example I used earlier, it was CompTIA. So it'll kind of go through the certificate name, and then you can find the vendor name as well as the contact information and POC. And then if you want to customize it by state, you can also do that. And so you have lots of options to find the credential that's right for you. Okay, let me show you what the statement of understanding looks like now. So, oh, I see. So the red line goes around. Okay. All right. Sorry, learning curve, guys.
Some are also saying like if you could like very briefly go over the cool site again.
Absolutely. Yep. I will definitely do that. So this is the statement of understanding. And like I said, you'll just want to right click in this area if you have access to a CAT card reader. If you don't, you can upload it and just say, I have read and agreed to the terms listed in the statement of understanding, or something like that. And so those two documents, let's see, I don't think I showed you guys with this screen share. The credentialing assistance request. So let me get that back up there. Okay, so this is the credentialing assistance request. And so part one, there's 3 parts here, and you'll just select the credential that you want. And if it's not listed there, you'll click the checkbox here and just type it in. And then you'll go to part 2 and enter in all the data that's, it'll all be in yellow, like right here. If I were to click this, it's going to look yellow. And then as you can see, the blue line appeared that says, 5 fields are missing. So that tells you that you have to complete all the yellow shaded fields before you can upload it to your help desk case. And right here it says data looks good. That means you've entered in all of the information. Just be sure to enter a start date that's no sooner than 30 business days from the day you submit it. And I just recommend to all soldiers right now 45 to 60 days out, not business days, but days. 45 to 60 days out is a good time frame for your start date. And then right here is where you're going to enter in that vendor information. You'll click right here, put an X if you're doing it for prep, like if it's a training or you're doing books, study material, things like that. If you're doing the actual training and exam, or if you just want to take the exam, you'll click right here. And so when those 2 documents are done, you're going to upload those 2 documents to the help desk case. But let's go back to Army Cool, because it is a cool website. See what I did there? Okay, let's see. Where is Army Cool? I think it's in here. Army, cool. Here we go. Okay. So, and this is just kind of providing you information about COVID-19, some of the social distancing guidance. Some training has been affected, and so that's a little message there. But this is basically the main page of Go Army. I'm sorry, Army Cool. You can see right here enlisted, warrant officer, officer, and then it can go based on your additional skill identifier. So in my previous example, I had selected 11 Bravo and then next, and it'll show you specifically what that MOS is about, the related credentials. And as you can see, there are 32 entries here. You can look at the views differently. The display options. I've never clicked that one before. Oh, very interesting. Oh, okay. That just shows you different. Interesting. So it's either list or card view is what I'm gathering here. So if you want to go ahead and click on related occupations, you can see, like if you're an 11 Bravo, some of the related fields that are out there for you. And then continuing education, additional, but we're going to go to related credentials. So I'm going to click on certified personal trainer, which is a very popular credential. I know some of those credentials you start out, you know, making like 40 grand or whatever. This one, you can start out making $60 an hour, build a clientele base, and you soldiers are already physically fit. So you can make lots of side money on your side gig with this particular credential. It's awesome. So you can see the related occupations, and this will break it down into different MOSs, both on the Army and the civilian side. But kind of going, this is like your summary page, and then it'll go over the eligibility for that particular credential. So if you click on education requirements, you only have to have a high school diploma to do this, or a GED. And then you have to be CPR and AED certified, and you have to be 18 years old. So let me just go over this. If you are sitting for the exam for this certified personal trainer, you have to provide your certificates, CPR or AED, in your help desk case. If you're doing a training program where maybe some of these things are included in the training and then you also get to sit for your exam, you don't need to include that information. So just be aware there's a difference between training and sitting to take the actual exam. This website will show you the eligibility to actually sit for exams, and it's going to show you, you know, the experience that you need to actually be credentialed in that area. So training is very different from sitting for the exam. I just want to make that clear. Here you'll see kind of what's included in the exam. It won't obviously tell you what's there, but you can kind of get a brief overview of what's included. And you can even get like different test prep stuff. Access to their agency website is right here. And so each credential that you select is going to be a mirror image of this. It's going to have the same information, except maybe there'll be an additional tab here that'll say, you know, additional considerations. But I also want to show you, if you go here to Army Credentialing Assistance, you can click on the approved vendor list and you have access to that same list of vendors that I showed you. And this does get updated. Man, I would say twice a month it gets updated with new vendors. One of the things is if your vendor isn't listed on here, then that's okay, but just know that your credentialing assistance request is going to be, it's going to take a lot longer than if you chose a vendor from the approved training provider list. And so, you know, like I said at the beginning of the presentation, just know the time that you have to work with and discuss it with your ESS, and they can give you the right path to take. I also want to, now that we're back here, show you if you have a credential that you're interested and you don't see it on here, you can actually recommend credentials to be reevaluated or evaluated by the COOL team. And so you'll click that and then you'll let them know which one you're interested in. Now, for the folks who you know, the vendor has not been vetted or approved or anything, you can send them to this Army COOL website and they'll click this, and that vendor will get an email with a list of instructions for them to become an approved training provider with the Army COOL program. Okay. I showed you earlier this navigator button, and I typically just, if I know the credential that I want, I typically just click full credential search, and let's see if it'll come up this time. But this button takes a while to load the 1,600 plus credentials, and so just go grab a cup of coffee or a cookie or a brownie until it loads. It looks like it's gonna work here. I would love to show you kind of what it looks like. We'll see. And just how easy it is to search for a credential in the search box. But, oh, yay, it worked. Okay, so right here you can see it's showing 1 of 10 of 1,631 entries. That is a lot of credentials. And some of these, I mean, accredited legal professional, financial counselor, man, people would really love to have that credential, because I know a lot of people are suffering right now with the state of things. If you see this red chili pepper, that means that's an in-demand credential. And you're going to have a very less of a hard time finding a job with those kinds of credentials. If you ever see a star with an M in the middle, that means that whatever MOS that's a part of, that MOS pays for that credential. And so it's not something that your credential can, it's not something that the credentialing assistance program can pay for. So if that's only if you search by your credential and then you see a star with an M. So it's based off of the soldier's credential, not if, you know, random credentials have the random MOSs have the star in there. So it's a black M with a star around it. But I mean, it's just 1,600. That's a lot to go through. So let's say we want to do project management professional. So I'm just going to do keyword project and then search. And we'll see if it wants to cooperate here. I might have really pushed it to the brink with that one. Sarah, are there any questions in the chat? That might be fun to share. Okay. All right.
I mean, there was some guidance on like browser visibility on chat. So if you are a soldier listening in right now and you aren't able to access the chat box, you can actually unmute yourself and ask a question to Mary. So if you are out there like, man, I'm having a lot of trouble, just, you know, let us know and we can get that addressed for you.
Definitely. Okay, so if you see any keyword project came up right here. And so there are 13 entries with that keyword in there. And the one that's the most popular is the certified project manager. So PMP, project management professional. And there are different levels, and so it will, if you click on these ones, it'll tell you you know what you need, your eligibility, what that requirement is. So let me click on, let's see, I'm not seeing just project, there it is, project management professional. So if you click that, it'll show you, okay, you have to have 5 years of experience, but wait, there's more. If you click eligibility, it'll tell you what kind of experience you need. And some of these programs, like, okay, so if you went to high school, you're going to need 7,500 hours that show that it was spent leading and directing projects. Now, if you're in the military, that shouldn't be too hard because you do a lot of that kind of stuff. If you have a bachelor's degree, you only need 4,500 hours. But let me go back one and show you this CAPM. This is for folks who are really close to that meeting the 4,500, and this sort of just prepares you to sit for that exam. It boosts your hours. It boosts your ability to get your resume, squared away before you actually sit for that higher level PMP cert. Okay. So I think that's it. Do I have any questions for Army Cool or credentialing assistants? I'm so sorry that you guys weren't able to see the screen until now. But if there's any questions, go ahead and unmute your phone or your line and feel free to ask if you do have any questions. And I'll leave that ability open for the next maybe 20 seconds.
Well, thank you, Mary. This is Saida for taking the time to inform the soldiers about the Credentialing Assistance Program. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen as of now. Can everybody see my slides?
Not on mine yet, but I'm sure it'll load.
I can see it, Saida.
You can?
Okay,
On
perfect.
the app and on the desktop.
Oh yeah, I see it. Popped up.
Perfect. Okay, so this is part 2 of the Credentialing Assistance Program brief. Now that you understand the CA's program rules and processes, I wanted to share some tips that you can add to your toolkit when looking to obtain a credential. Hopefully, these credentialing tips will help you to achieve your goals on credentialing. And I know there's a little bit of lag, so I'm going to talk a little bit over the allotted time. So this is the agenda for my brief. This can be a list to go through when considering obtaining a credential, or you can build your own when you're trying to obtain a credential. Don't just pick one out of the blue because it's easy. Pick one that it's going to take you further in your career. So the first thing that we're going to discuss is what is the difference among credentials? I mean, what are credentials? So the word credential is an all-encompassing term that covers any type of learning that results in an achievement. And these are all credentials, so academic degree, which is are provided by educational institutions like colleges and universities. They issue degrees that range from associates to doctoral degrees. An example of this is a bachelor's degree in engineering. Licenses are usually government agencies that regulate the licensor, often through the state agency, which generally require renewal. An example of a license is an electrician requires a license. Certificates, training providers offer short-term programs, usually less than 2 years, that end with an exam. If you pass, you receive the certificate that does not require a renewal. Example of this is a certificate program in surgical technology. Once you get it, that's it. You don't need it no more. You don't need to renew. We also have certifications. Certifications differ from certificates in their assessment processes as well as expiration dates. So industry certified bodies issue certifications following a competency assessment that requires recertification within an assigned time period. So you do need to renew these certifications. And an example of this is the AWS certified welder. And then we have apprenticeships. Of course, an apprenticeship is a system of training of a new generation of practitioners of a trade or profession with on-the-job training and often some accompanying study, which is whether it's classroom work or reading. Apprenticeships can also enable practitioners to gain a license to practice in a regulated profession. And in this example, we can also say welding or CDL, which is commercial driver's license. So how to choose a credential? Did you know that 84% of the Army MOSs alone have credentials that directly apply to civilian jobs? Credentialing is a tool in during your job search, which can help you get employed quicker in the civilian world, get promoted, or change careers. Soldiers have virtual tools that can help them decide which credential to pursue based on their personality, goals, strengths, and weaknesses, as well as acquired skills. Some of these tools, online tools, are Career Path Decide, Career Journey, and College Recoupment, to name a few. The websites for all resources are listed on the useful links slide in this presentation, which is at the end. So you don't have to take notes, but once you can see the useful links later. But if you want to discover for yourself which credential to pursue without the help of an online tool, then you should ask yourself the following questions. What do I want to accomplish? Is it my ultimate certification goal to make more money? Is it to advance in my profession? Maybe you just want to learn a new skill. As a prospective student, you should start evaluating what is your ultimate goal before choosing a credential. Other questions are that you can ask yourself as, what am I interested in? Pick a certification that will keep you invested. When perusing your certification options, make sure you keep the following questions in mind. What are the requirements? Do I meet those requirements? How much time will you need to invest? Is it industry recognized? Does it link to my career path? Will I have to get recertified? My recommendation is that you build a certification credentialing roadmap. Certifications take a lot of time and energy. So before you embark on your journey, make sure you are fully aware of what's required or optional for the credential to be awarded. Also think about the future. What are you planning? Are you planning to stay in the same career field you are now? Did you already acquire a credential in that career field? Most professionals have more than one credential, which makes them more marketable. When searching for credentials in Army Cool or any other search engine, keep in mind the following. Use Army Cool website to find out what credentials align with your MOS or additional skill identifier. Do you want to stay in the same career field once you transfer into the civilian sector? Research the job market within your desired geographical location. Does the desired job drive your home search, or does your home search drive your career search? The job market might not be the same in Denver, Colorado, that it is in Arlington, Virginia. Research the job market within your desired geographical location, like I stated. Research desired career path and what educational requirement is in demand within that job family. The education requirements change constantly, so just make sure that you are choosing the correct credential. Research cost of credentials and the education benefits you can use to offset that debt, and I'm going to go over some of the programs that you could use. Do you think you'll go for additional credentials in the future? Will you need certification in the future? And research the length of course and study requirements. And I'm referring to time and effort commitments. We all have jobs, and with this COVID-19 pandemic, sometimes it is hard to find additional time to complete a credential online. Also think about the value of the credential in the Army, promotion opportunity, and in the civilian sector. Difference in job placement and pay. Always research the MOS and the Department of Labor page to find out what it would be easier for you to transfer. I recommend for all soldiers to draw out a 3, 5, and 10-year plan to include their dream career, location, and pay. That will be easier for you to predict possible costs, allocate funding programs, and get promoted or higher ahead of peers. So this is 5 employment scenarios that could describe your credential needs. Okay, so I'm not going to go through every scenario, but if you already have a credential within your job specialty, you probably do not need one if you're going to transfer into the same job specialty. So just look through the employment scenarios, try to identify yourself within that scenario and see what are the recommendations for you to acquire a new credential. So Army funding programs. If you want to pursue a credential that is facilitated by an educational institution and the college is listed in GoArmyEd, you can probably use FTA to fund it. FTA provides $4,000 per FY, but the combined use of CA and FTA is capped at $4,000, and this, like I stated before, credentials facilitated by an education institution. FTA is authorized for the payment of tuition only, no fees, books, or materials will be paid. Courses must be requested and approved prior to course start date. Will pay for 1 associate's, bachelor's, master's, if not previously attained, and 1 graduate or undergraduate certificate every 5 years. Must maintain a minimum grade point average, can only pursue 1 credential at the time, and it's subject to recoupment or military service obligation. Oops. And Miss Mary Lance just went through the CA program. So this is a very quick recap of what credentialing assistance does provide. Another funding program is the Montgomery GI Bill. Every soldier should know the rules of using Montgomery GI Bill and credentialing assistance, or any other program for that matter, meaning FTA or apprenticeships. So Montgomery GI Bill will pay for testing, but no more than $2,000 per test. We'll pay for tests for approved licenses or certifications. We'll pay for tests even if the service member did not score high enough to get her or his license or certification. Service member can take the same test as many times as they need. It will pay for recertification or retain a license. Will not pay for fees, costs relating to costs related to getting the actual license or certification document, costs to register, cost of a specialized test, or administrative fees. This is where you actually have to cover the other portion with CA. Also, tests taken before August 1, 2018 will be charged at least 1 full month of entitlement, and tests taken after August 1st, 2018, entitlement charges will be prorated under the post 9/11 GI Bill based on the actual amount of the fee charged for the test. What does that mean? If you are using 1606 Montgomery GI Bill, which is about, and I'm not sure if it's, I'm just setting an estimate, it's about $368 per month. So if you get a test that it's $2,000 divided by $368, and that's the amount of months that you will be charged for that test. Another funding program, active duty Army National Guard soldiers can participate in the CSP program, which is the Career Skills Program. This is an Army funded apprenticeship program, but this is only for active duty Army National Guard, not MDA. And this program prepares soldiers for civilian employment upon completion of their military service. Soldiers accepted into the program will have the opportunity to participate in first-class apprenticeships, on-the-job training, job shadowing, internships, and employment skills training provided at select CONUS locations. If you're at an all CONUS location, you are not eligible. Not that you're not eligible, but you will have to come to the states to finish that CSP program. To be considered for an open seat, you must contact the Soldier for Life Transition Assistance Program at the installation where you want to attend. Each installation will have a list of apprenticeships available, and they all vary. Soldiers can be approved for participation up to 180 days prior to separation from the Army after the completion of a mandatory 5-day Soldier for Life TAP workshop. Soldiers submitted commander authorized signed participation memo in advance, and once they go through the interview, they will be selected. These are very highly coveted seats, so there's only a certain amount of soldiers that they can take, so it's not a guaranteed program. Then, the use of permissive TDY or temporary duty to attend the CSP more than 50 miles away from the soldier's duty station may be granted by the commander's discretion. Just wanted to make sure of that. But your commander has to be approved. You will be interviewed. Once accepted, you can go ahead and do that 5-day SFL TAP workshop. Next slide. All right, free stuff. Who doesn't like free stuff? So besides using FTA, CA, Montgomery GIB, or CSP, you should research for free guides, testing, materials, books, etc. that will help you attain your credential on a budget and within your monetary constraints. So free study guides. You can find information for free study guides in the Army Corps website, National Association websites, Department of Labor offices and their sites, at your local library once they open, of course, or maybe on your virtual library. And also, if you know professionals in that field, ask them to share their old materials with you. Most of the materials will not change, even though the order might change, but the main information will probably most likely stay the same. Also, search for free credentials, badges, and certifications from National Association or institutes provided online. One of these is the PMI Institute. So the Project Management Institute, due to COVID-19, they're offering project management free courses and badges. So these are good for you to research. Also use tutor.com, which can help you to learn a specific topic prior to taking an exam, especially for those in the medical services or taking math or computers. Take advantage of free classes offered at your local community college or online, so as long as they create a cohesive message about the skill set needed in the job. There's some people that love to take free classes at community college, and they don't not have to be linked to your credential, but if you are you are focused and you want to take that credential and you're just looking for stuff that will connect to your credential, make sure that you read the course content. Also, take advantage of free testing at trade shows or trial periods. The free testing is offered all the time. So how do you choose a vendor? So choosing a vendor should be a well thought out plan that was researched and executed. Ask the following questions to make sure you choose the right vendor for you. Which is your preferred method of learning? Is it online or face-to-face? Did you compare costs with other vendors? Do you research the credibility of the vendor at the time and the time that they have been in the industry? There are many unscrupulous vendors out there, and we want to make sure that you get quality instruction. Have you asked others or researched the quality of instruction? What materials are they using in their courses? I mean, if you see some old book from 1978, maybe that's not the best, course of instruction for you. Did you read the reviews from past clients? Do you research the passing percentage of that course? Is the vendor affiliated with a national association or government agency? Do you need an additional license for their course? So sometimes they say, oh, we will get you some a credential, but it's not the real license. So you actually paid for something that you really didn't need. So make sure you find that out. One moment. Okay, did you look through the vendor website for the required books and materials? Like I said before, sometimes these vendors use very old handbooks or outdated materials, so it's pivotal that you actually look through the materials and books that they are requesting for you to pass these exams. Is it Army Cool approved or an unapproved vendor? Mary went over this. If you have an unapproved vendor, the request might take longer. One moment. Another tip is to find out what professional organizations and or vendors seems to have the majority of the people in that industry. And do they need to provide any certificates or certifications? Future students should look at the membership. If they don't see the mainstream companies or organizations associated with that professional society association, then you should be leery, you know? And our most important tip on choosing a vendor is to contact the vendor prior to requesting CA and confirm seat availability, prices, and materials listed on their website. Do not just copy paste the information from the site to your application. They might not have any seats available, or they might have an outdated list of prices or materials. Okay. Oh, well, one moment. Okay, so now we're going to go through some success tips for you to obtain that credential. So before you embark in this journey of obtaining a credential, you should know before enrolling in a course or taking an exam the following. Invest time and effort in studying for the exam that you will need. One cram session will not suffice, so you make sure that you have that time and you have that dedicated effort to pass this credential. Familiarize yourself with the vendor website content. They usually have specific tips for acing the test itself. Research what is the composition of the exam. The Army Cool website provides information about the test contents, and this might help you to actually get, tutoring from tutor.com. Try to attend hybrid or face-to-face courses because instructor-led training is the gold standard for learning today. Maybe not after COVID-19, but until a couple of months ago it was. Not all good study guides cost money. So research for free study guides and all tests. They can provide invaluable insight. In other words, you know how to take the certification test. Then slow down, check your work, trust your instincts, and relax when you're taking the exam. Be on time and know what to bring for the testing. Be kind to test administrators. Visit trade shows with test centers. They often provide free tests and study guides. Know when your certification expires and the requirements for getting recertified. Thoroughly research the training provider before enrolling. And remind yourself, don't get flustered when you don't know the answer. It's normal. Certification exams are difficult for a reason. If they were easy to pass, certified IT professionals wouldn't be so highly regarded, or whatever credential you're looking for. So this is the Useful Links website. All the information that I have talked about today I gathered from these sites. You should always research information about successfully enrolling in credentials, taking exams, choosing vendors, aligning credentials, your military or civilian credentials to a civilian or military job, improving your promotion potential within the Army National Guard or the civilian, your civilian job, and always searching for free resources. Also, for a copy of this presentation and more information on the programs discussed, like tuition assistance and credentialing assistance, contact your education service specialist. To find your ESS contact information, go to www.nationalguard, select your state, or www.goarmyed.com. For counseling services, please call 1-866-ARNG-EDU or 1-866-276-4338. I hope that you found this tips useful and share this information with your fellow soldiers. And those are the links that I just talked about in the ARNG counseling services. Thank you all for participating. I'm going to go back into the chat room real quick. So just we have about 18 participants. We have some soldiers. I'm glad to see that. If you have any questions, like I said it before, go ahead and call 1-866-ARNG-EDU for counseling, or contact your ESS going to goarmyed.com. On the bottom left side, it's going to be education centers. You can find your education centers information there. Thank you and have a great Army Day. Do we have any questions? I forgot to ask.
I was wondering if perhaps at the end of this presentation, after everyone else had asked some questions, I was going to wonder if I could link up there with Ms. Schmidt. She's actually the ESO for my state.
Oh, perfect. Yes. Ms. Schmidt?
I think if you just provide your information in the chat box, we'll make sure that she gets it.
That too, yes.
Or do they have access to the chat box, Saida? I can't remember.
Anyway,
The folks that are just on the browser don't.
Okay.
But I know
Sarah.
him, so
Okay,
I got
you know
him.
him.
Don't worry.
Okay.
Do we have any other questions? I know this might seem long on everything for some, but we just want to make sure that we give you significant and good information on how to obtain your credentials, whether it's using the Army funded programs or you're doing it on your own. We want to make sure that you take advantage of all the programs and you use them in a way that will benefit you the most. If you are like, I don't know how to say this, but if you're taking a credential that, you know, it could be covered by FTA and you could leave that CA money, which is the same pot, but it's just a little bit different. Or, you know, you can cover that credential with CA instead of using your semester hours from FTA. It would benefit you. So I suggest you contact your education service specialist for you to, so that they can tailor kind of a program for you and advise you on what program to use at this point in your life when you're starting your credentialing. And if there's no more questions, I'm guessing Miss Sarah Schmidt texted Mr. Montez. But if there's anything else, I'm gonna go ahead and call it a day. What do you guys think?
Sounds good.
Yeah, I was wondering if I could just ask one question, actually.
Go ahead.
So right now I'm active duty, and I'm going to be transitioning into the National Guard. My question is, do I have to wait until I complete that transition in order to use credentialing assistance without incurring more to the MSO, or can I start that now since I'm rolling right into another term of service? I guess if that makes sense.
So you're a first lieutenant, you're an officer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so if you're finishing your contract with the Army, with the active duty Army, I suggest you wait until you start your contract with the National Guard. So that way the MSO, because once you ETS from the active duty, they might charge you for a military service obligation.
Got it.
So is it quick? Do you think you're going to transition soon? Is it something, you know, that it's happening within the next 6 months, or do you think it's going to happen later?
I'd start my transition leave starting at the beginning of next month, and then I will separate at the end of the month.
Perfect. So go ahead and wait until you get. Yes.
I can answer that. So if you can be on terminal leave, but if you have more than 1 day between your end date on active duty and your start date for the National Guard, it's very important that you not have your GoArmy account separated, because then there would be an issue of recoupment because you are an officer. You owe years of service if you do training and not testing. So, and we'll talk about that more when I link up with you later. But in general, you want to make sure you have contract in hand and that you involve your state education office so that you don't have mishaps like that.
Right.
Thank you, Sarah. Do we have
Thank
any
you.
other questions? Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think something that came up during the presentation, as far as submitting training requests with a non-approved vendor, should I just have that vendor start working on getting approved, or is that part of the process of getting with the non-approved vendor?
Do you want me
Okay.
to take that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So it would be great if you could get them, go ahead and get them started. Show them that contact us link that I walked you through on Army Cool.
Right.
And have them get into contact with headquarters. I know we're kind of moving into a new system called Army Ignited, which is going to be a little bit more streamlined. So they might be able to, connect up with that new system, prior to having to do all that paperwork that some of them are having to do right now. So give them that email, get them started on that process, so that when you're ready to take the credential, you don't have to wait.
And then so as far as what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to get the private pilot's license. Obviously, I don't think the $4,000 is going to cover the entirety of the flight cost. So my question is, can I start pay out of pocket to, pay for about half of it and then have the credentialing assistance cover like the other half? Is that a thing? Like you can use the funds for training and then pay the rest out of pocket?
Yeah, if that amount is over 4,000, you can totally do that. Now, what I've heard some of these private pilot companies do, because it's about 8,000 for that, initial license.
Right.
So what they have been doing is creating these phases. So phase 1 would be during one fiscal year, and then phase 2 would be during another fiscal year, so that the soldier can tap into both fiscal years and have the credential paid for.
Right.
Using CA. So you just have to connect with, and actually Texas, we're doing a webinar tomorrow on private pilot's license. If you're interested in joining us for that, just learning a little bit more about the license and eligibility requirements. Anyone is welcome. It's under Microsoft Teams. You can search for us. It's called the Credentialing Assistance Webinar Series, and then it has a dash TXARNG. TXARNG. I'll actually put the link in the chat box for those of you who can see it. Yeah.
And what time are you guys doing that?
It will be tomorrow at 12 p.m.
And
and that's Central Standard Time. Sorry, I know we're.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure, of course.
You just have to make sure that the training is divided in phases. If it's not divided in phases by the vendor, it's really hard or difficult to afterwards change that into phases.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you make sure that once you enroll, that they have specific phases to pay for. So let's say phase 1 is 4,000, starts in August, and then the other one, the next one starts after October. So that way you can use two concurrent FY monies to pay for CA with, for the private license.
Right.
Okay.
So then in order to, because I know you got to have a completion, would like that phase 1 completion certificate suffice for the upload that you need to put into Go Army Ed, or do you need to have the whole complete credential of the private pilot's license as listed in COOL?
So you would
You
just
will
put on
have-
phase
Okay, go
1.
ahead.
Yeah, you would
Yes.
just, on your CA request, you would just put phase 1, $4,000.
Okay.
If that's how that private, like Zaida was saying, you just have to make sure that you find a vendor that does parse it out like that.
Okay. Great. I think that covers most of like my immediate questions. The rest of it I can just direct to Ms. Schmidt. I think we're planning on meeting them tomorrow.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thanks for your questions and thanks for joining.
Absolutely. Thank you for providing this series. This is very helpful.
You're welcome. So glad you enjoyed it. Did you get the link for the webinar tomorrow in the chat box, by the way? I just want to make sure.
Let me double check.
I want to make sure you can see it.
I do not see it.
Okay.
I can probably email it to you because I can see it.
Okay,
Oh,
perfect.
yeah. if you
Thanks,
could do that.
Sarah. Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Now, Lieutenant Montes, question to you as a soldier, since I think you're one of the only ones that are online. Do you
I
think?
do have a question too. I'm so sorry to interrupt. I was just
Go
waiting for you.
ahead, Dr. Let me finish this.
Okay.
Actually, to both of you, that would be awesome. If you found that, you know, the last part of the briefing, the one I conducted, was not beneficial for you, this is the first time I do it. I just want to make sure that I'm giving you good information that you found useful. I don't want to be, you know, we've been here for 2 hours. You want to make sure that, you know, it's worth the 2 hours of your time. Thank you.
All right. I will give you some feedback on that. I just have a quick question. So I already have a master's. I already I was working on my PhD in 2018. So can I still use CA money or any other type of money, not to continue my education, but to get like a license or certification or one of those things that you were talking about? Can I still use that, or I do not qualify for that anymore?
Yes, you do. You do qualify for anything that it can be used with CA. But it cannot be related to your doctoral degree.
Yeah, I read that. And so I made it late to the meeting. So I just go to the website and put the application, and I'll figure it out. But I was late today. So can I just do everything online in that website that you gave us?
Yes.
Who's your
www.
ESS?
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Who is your ESS?
I think she's National Guard Bureau.
Yeah, I mean
Oh.
NGB.
Okay,
Yes,
great.
so
Yeah.
you're active duty, right?
Yes, I do. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So you probably you can be serviced by your National Guard state, but if you find it easier, closer to you, or you know, you can also go, because you're active duty. You can go to an active duty ed center, so Fort Myers or Fort Belvoir. I don't know, Mary, if you remember the lady that was teaching last year with Miss Melissa Robinson.
No, remind me.
Oh, I remember her face. That's why I saw her picture come up. I was like, oh, I know her.
Oh, is that the who was just talking?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Neat.
I know her. She's in my building.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Any other questions?
No, I'm good. I don't have anything else.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Ida. I'll go ahead and stop recording now.
Thank you.